Good afternoon, everyone, or actually good morning. If you are dialing in Central Standard Time, it is still good morning. It's about 11:30. And thank you for joining me on this new webinar, new training for business owners, entrepreneurs, and professionals and their teams, how to overcome any obstacle in a few hours to skyrocket your sales. Thank you again for being here. My name is Kimberly Lebbing, and I'll give you a formal introduction in a little bit. Don't worry, it'll be short. But I want to go ahead and get started because I want to honor the people that are here, and we will go ahead and get started right away. So, okay. Get this going. Okay, so welcome again. So today I'm going to show you how you or your sales team can overcome a big obstacle that's maybe been holding you back in a few hours. So in a few hours, without doing all the time-consuming seminars and the trainings and the programs and all the things that we typically are taught to do. So who is this for? This is for you if you are a business professional, if you're a leader or you're an entrepreneur that wants to get to that next level of your business. You want to break through the plateau of your growth, increase your sales, and move yourself or your team into really massive action. And here's my promise to you. Today, we're going to uncover 3 key steps in order to increase your sales, move yourself or your team into massive action, and break through the plateau of your growth. And what makes this different? Really quickly, there's nothing for sale here. But if you do like what you see and you'd like to talk about how I can help, I'll give you a way to connect with me on the end, and we can talk about some of the programs that I have and whether or not we are a perfect fit to work together. Okay, so today we're going to discover 3 paradigm shifts that will help you break through the plateau of your growth. We're going to talk about hidden barriers that hold people back. And I'm going to help you identify any obstacles so that you can accelerate your success. And these are things you're going to be able to implement right away. So who am I? This is the quick part. So I'm a success and mindset coach. I've been coaching for over 10 years in the industry. I am an NLP or neuro-linguistic programming master coach. I have multiple expert certifications in the NLP space for over the last 8 years. I'm also a trainer, a speaker, a sales and mindset training is something that I do for companies and their teams. And I've got a proven track record of getting massive results for business owners, entrepreneurs, professionals, and their teams that want to overcome an obstacle or break through a plateau that maybe that's been holding them back, that they've been stuck in their business. What I'm known for is I have created a very unique 4-hour process that rapidly shifts minds and puts people really into action. It helps them take massive action to reach their highest goals without the time-consuming seminars, training, and programs. And I get to the root of the problem really quickly so that you can have rapid results literally in 4 hours. So thank you again for being here today. Okay, so is this you? Are you struggling to reach your next promotion or sales goal? Do you know what to do, but you've been inconsistent, affecting your performance and results? Are you uncomfortable or have a lack of confidence with something and it's getting in your way of higher success? If any of this sounds familiar, then I have great news for you. None of these things are actually the real problem. And I'm going to get to what those really are. The real problem is that you haven't made these shifts. You don't know what you don't know yet that we're going to talk about today. And once you make them, and they are very easy, by the way, you can move from stagnation into massive action and results. You can experience more clarity and focus in your business, and you can easily set and achieve higher level goals. So, and real quick, here's what this looks like for others that have gone through this process and implemented these things. John is someone that I worked with actually a couple years ago. I helped him overcome a big challenge that he was having in his personal life, and he's now taking his business to 7 figures, and he did that in a year. And that he says that the 4-hour rapid results I did with you was very powerful and healing. Thank you again for sharing that gift with me. And I'm going to share all these steps with you. I'm going to share the steps that I do with all of these clients. I helped her get a fast breakthrough in 4 hours, and it accelerated her actions and increased her sales by 68%. She did this in under 90 days too, guys. Rapidly scaled her business. And she says, I was able to accomplish in 4 hours what years of therapy could not. And my business has skyrocketed since the appointment. And then another John, spelled differently. John was one of my team clients, and he was able to close 20 new contracts in his first 30 days on the job. He was a brand new employee. And he says he noticed changes right after the first meeting. And he noticed that the letting go and focusing on the future and the change he can create. And he says it was very helpful for new people, obviously. He's like at their top salesperson right now. So here's the 3 shifts, the paradigm shifts. So shift number 1 is identifying the real problem. So a lot of times when people come to me, they come to me for different reasons. And we all have reasons or problems that we're struggling with in our businesses, right? Maybe we're inconsistent. Maybe we feel like something's been holding back. We haven't really been able to identify what it is. So there's different things going on and different reasons why we feel kind of stuck where we are. So we're going to talk about the elephant in the room. What most people do is they don't get to the real problem. And this is key number 1. And it is really, really simple. I'm going to show you how to get to the real problem. This is the first step. Most people don't get to it. They identify things like imposter syndrome, fear of success, fear of failure, inconsistency, people pleasing or saying yes too often. These are things that end up affecting us and affecting our goals, but they're not the real problem. They are symptoms that something deeper is going on. And I'm going to show you how to get to that. So when we don't identify these real problems, what happens is we end up getting the roller coaster results in our businesses. We see this with salespeople. Honestly, we see it in personal relationships with inconsistencies. It shows up everywhere, but this is where we see inconsistent results. And the problem is that we're not getting to the real problem. Everything's up. All that we see is what the presenting problem is, the surface level problem that's at the top. And we end up trying to fix it by just dealing with what's at the top. When in reality, 90% of our actions, our behaviors, the things that shows up in our business is controlled by our subconscious mind. All the things that our subconscious has learned from our past is showing up in the now. What we do, and this is most people, and this is me in the past, is that we consciously try to solve the subconscious problems using conscious level tactics. I hope that made sense. We consciously try to solve subconscious problems using conscious level tactics, and it creates inconsistent results. Let me explain. So when we can dig into what the real problem is, identifying what that real problem is, it usually goes much deeper than what the presenting problem is. So I'll give you an example. So if you have, okay, so a client that I worked with, like, think of an example. We'll call him Mike. And Mike is a business owner, owns a business, and it's actually a newer business. They've been in business. He's had previous businesses, but this particular business is newer. And Mike struggles with people pleasing. And when Mike came to me, this was showing up in a huge way, because and he knew that he was saying yes to things and saying yes to people a lot more often than he should. It was disrupting his goals. And what was happening is he was getting frustrated. The co-owner of the business was watching all this and also getting frustrated, because she knew the time that it was taking away from actually building the business. So there was all kinds of dynamics involved in this people pleasing. Well, one of the ways that I identify what the core problem is by asking more questions. And this you can do. So whatever the problem is, whether it be inconsistency, whether it be procrastination, whatever it is, ask yourself, how is that a problem? That's one of the questions that I ask people. And with doing that and keep going deeper, keep going deeper, keep going deeper, you can identify what that real problem is. And so with people pleasing, a lot of times this is related to guilt. Guilt that was created, and it's a vicious cycle. So if you say yes, so let's just say, because I see this a lot with business owners, if you say yes to something, then you feel guilty about the time that you're maybe not spending with your family or not spending in your business. But if you say no, then you feel guilty about that other person. And maybe you don't want to make them feel bad. Maybe, there's all kinds of dynamics going into this, and you can really delve into. So if you keep asking, how is that a problem? You can get to that core reason. And getting to that core reason is really, really huge in actually fixing it. You can't fix a problem that you don't know if you don't know what it is. So this gets to the deeper problems so that you can actually resolve it. And this is huge with Mike, with the people pleasing, really cool, because this is somebody I worked with last week. And he said he had a phone call from a salesperson that wanted them to do something with them. And in the past, he would have led them on. Well, I can't right now. He would have done all kinds of things. And he said, I was able to tell that person no right away. It was a very respectful no, and it was no big deal. So it really is a huge thing to be able to identify what that is and fix it. When you can break through that, you break through the plateau of your growth, you can gain more confidence and succeed in any situation. You can motivate yourself or your team to take massive action towards your goals. And I'm going to talk about Barb a little bit. I mentioned her in the beginning. She's the one that had the 68% growth. But Barb is one of those that came to me with, I think it's imposter syndrome. That was her problem. And then she said two things, imposter syndrome. And then she also said that it was fear of success or fear of failure. And those are real common. And she didn't know why. So she wanted to grow her business. She wanted to start hiring employees, bringing them in, bringing on staff, and really growing her business. And she had been wanting to do it for 3 or 4 years, and she wasn't able to do it. And she thought it was this fear of success, fear of failure, imposter syndrome kind of things. And when I started asking her some questions and really drilling down and, how is that a problem? And there were some other questions and things involved in this too, but really that's probably the most important one, is to really drilling that down. We discovered for her trust was a problem. And the way this was showing up is it was showing up where she was a little bit afraid to have other people help. So she was afraid to scale and let other people do what she knew she could do well. She was afraid to scale and hire people to help her. She even had employees in another business, and sometimes was afraid to tell or would hang on to tasks that she knew she hired them to do them, and then she would do them anyway. So really afraid to let go of things. And this all had to do with trust. And so it was really huge for her. So we pinpointed it that was the biggest problem that would help her in the biggest way in her business. And then I'm going to go through the other steps I did with her, but the results were, immediate. She hired 3 people the following couple of weeks and expanded her business and increased her sales by 68%. I still talk to her often, and she's still doing great. Her relationships are different. The choices she makes in her business and in her personal life are both different in a good way. So it's really huge when you get to the core problem. You're probably thinking, will this really help me? I've tried other things before and the change didn't last, right? So that's what I'm going to talk about on the second shift, which is discovering what caused the problem or where it first occurred. And I'll get into how you can do this. A lot of people think that that's just the way I am, or I've been doing this my entire life. Is real change even possible for me? That's one of the questions I ask people before we even start to work together is, how long has this been a problem for you? And many times I hear it's like my whole life, been doing it forever. So it is sometimes difficult for people to see that they can really shift, but it is possible. And I want to explain how. So when I talked in the beginning about the surface level problems, and you saw that iceberg and how we normally deal with problems, this is how people normally deal with subconscious problems. So they go to sales training, they go to seminars, they learn new strategies and tactics that promise big results. And there is nothing wrong with these things. However, if you keep getting the same results with something and you're not really moving forward, probably there's something else holding you back. And when you can remove that problem, then all these things that are, the seminars, the sales trainings, then they work. Then you're able to implement them and go into action because you don't have all that other stuff that's pulling you back into a different direction. The second problem or thing that people try to do is they read the books, they listen to podcasts, they spend endless hours trying to fix their problem consciously. I know this well also because I did this myself literally for years. That's one of the reasons why I came up with this process, because I want people to have fast results. And the reason these conscious level things don't work is because we end up sliding back into old behavior. And I'm sure you've experienced this anytime you've gone to something and you get home and you're all excited, and then change happens, but then a little bit over time, or maybe something happens, disrupts the pattern that you're in, and then you end up sliding back into old behavior. So you end up with inconsistent results, and that results in frustration and endless amounts of energy spent on trying to fix a problem. Next, discover what caused the problem or where it first occurred. And I want to explain how this works. And I'm going to go deep here, and actually how to do it is actually pretty quick, but I want to explain kind of the science or the neurology or the psychology behind it. It really works like a domino effect. So whenever you can go back to the reason, so like for Barb, that trust first occurred, it acts like a domino effect, so that every behavior subconsciously going forward is no longer seen through that filter. So all the future decisions and behaviors are done differently because that's no longer a problem. I hope that makes sense. I'm going to explain. If it didn't, I'm going to keep explaining. So what you want to do when discovering where the problem started, and this is a mistake that a lot of people make with this, is sometimes they think, oh, well, I went through a divorce 5 years ago. That's where my trust problem started. No, probably. And more than likely, it started way before then. And what we want to do is we want to get, you have a memory storage up here called the Gestalt. And your Gestalt is where your core memories are stored, core emotions are stored. And we want to get into the imprint years. So to get to the core problems. So that's between the ages of 0 and 7. That's when the core is formed. And it's the most important piece. Sometimes there are things that have happened later, but most of the time when you get to those imprint years, remember the dominoes, it will affect all the other things going forward. And then there's no need to do the other work on the other things. So, and just for reference, if you are, seeking where a problem occurred, 7 to 14 is the modeling years, and then 14 to 21 is where we learn socialization. It's interesting to me if you think about where you were at that time, like when I was, between the ages of 14 and 21, my parents had already been through a divorce. It's just interesting when you look at some of the relationships that I had and the struggles that I had, and then what I learned at what time and where, who my influencers in my life were. And these are all key steps. So discovering the cause, discovering the root cause or where it first occurred is essential for lasting change. This is one of the pieces. It really all works very well together, but this is one of the pieces that makes the changes last so that it doesn't keep happening. So if you ask yourself, where else does this show up? So with my, I worked with a guy on a team, sales team who also struggled with people pleasing. And he was doing it with all the guys in the sales team, and it was keeping him from his follow-up with clients and customers. And it was really affecting the entire organization. He was in a management position. It was affecting the entire organization's business. And when I asked him about the people pleasing, he was totally aware of it. I asked him, where else does this show up? And he said, well, it shows up at home too. He did it with his wife, does it with his kids. So a lot of times ask yourself, where else does this show up? And that'll help give you a clue of where the root came from or where it started. And then ask yourself, when did you decide that people pleasing was an effective way to do life or to protect yourself? For him, it was a protecting. So ask yourself, when did you decide, and when did this occur? When is the first time this occurred? And a lot of times you'll know, but it's taking that time to get quiet and listen. So when we get to the root of the problem, we experience consistent, lasting results. We get better relationships at home and at work, and we respond differently to people and situations. it's completely different game changer. I just had a follow up with a couple of clients right before this, and they're really like, I just can't even believe how differently we are reacting to things after going through this and really pulling out what the problem was, what the root was, and getting to that core problem. It's huge. So let me tell you about John. John is someone that I worked with. It's on a sales team. And by the way, I can do this whole process with groups as well. And he was part of a group process where we did the 4 hours, and he struggled. I just want you to hear his story because he struggled with fear of actually getting on the roofs and this company knocks on doors. And he wasn't sure what was holding him back. And what we discovered with John is, and he's new to sales. So I talked about him in the beginning. He was new to sales. What I discovered in the process that John owned or helped manage restaurants. And during COVID, his restaurant, he was a chef. And during COVID, his restaurant was shut down. And with the restaurant business and being a chef, he was on this really high, he was expected to perform well, and he had a fear of letting other people down. Well, this played out in his new business, his new career, where he was even afraid to knock on doors or get up on a roof. What we discovered though with the root cause is we thought that was the obvious. You would think that would be the obvious answer, that it was just because of this previous business. It went much further back, much further back. And he remembered. So it was something from his childhood and where he was expected to perform. And it was already there. It was exasperated by all the events of 2020 and losing that business. But that it started much sooner than the restaurant business. So when we were able to reframe this for him and fix it and get to the cause, he ended up going into action really quickly. I mean, the result was like right away. And that first month he signed 20 contracts, which I was told that was unheard of for a new person. So I'm very excited to see where else he goes in that company. So you're probably thinking this process is time consuming, it's stressful and mentally draining, right? And actually, it's not. I a lot of times hear just the opposite. And like I said, it's, so if you're doing this on your own, this may take you some time because you're going to have to get rid of distractions around you to be able to go through and really hone in on what these problems are and where they occurred. But it literally can be done in less than 4 hours. Okay, so shift number 3, fixing the problems so that it doesn't keep happening. This is my favorite part. And there's different aspects of this. So a lot of people think that long-lasting change really isn't possible without years and years of hard work or therapy or doing different things. In fact, one of the calls I was just on earlier today, we were talking about a couple that I'm working with that I just finished working with, that they had been in counseling for literally years, and they're now considering, just after going through this just one time, they're like, I don't think we need counseling anymore. So it's cool to see how when you rewire things, and not that counseling isn't valuable, because it is, it's got its place. This is just different. And so they're not sure that they even need to invest in that any longer. So breakthrough is just ahead. So the mistake, people end up spending countless hours or even years on fixing their problem. So I want to be clear, we're not broken, but this is something that we try and do. We're always trying to fix ourselves. This is something that I did for years and years. In fact, it's one of the reasons why I came up with the process that I did, because It's not the standard in my industry to do what I do in 4 hours. It's more of the standard to keep people on for a longer period of time and then give them the transformation at the end. And what I found that just didn't align with me because it was frustrating. So I like to help people fix whatever it is they want to fix right away, right up front, so that they can move on and start making money. So the reason the fixing doesn't work is because we end up missing opportunities. So when you have to wait years and years, you end up missing opportunities that are right in front of you, just like the wall. You waste time and energy, which ends up getting you exhausted and maybe feeling burned out in your business and your relationships. And all the time, whenever you're able to get to those problems and find out what caused it and fix it, it's like that whole wall. The wall was imaginary and then it's gone, totally evaporates. So here's some perspective for you, or just an analogy for you to remember. So if you can pretend that we were all born with a pair of glasses, and every time we have fear happen, anxiety happen, or whatever it is, whatever negative or positive events, both, because they both end up on these imaginary glasses, and every time you kind of get a splotch. And as we grow into adulthood and through our life, every decision we make, every behavior that we do ends up being made through the glasses that have the splotches of our experiences on them. So what this does, this whole process, what it does is it cleans them up. So then you are able to see things clearly, and you're able to see the opportunities that were maybe there right under your nose. One of the things that Barb had shared with me right after is she said, all these people that were there to help me grow my business were there the whole time. And she didn't see them until we, took her through this. So it really is amazing. So here's the whole thing. So you're going to start by identifying the problem, discovering the cause. The next part is subconsciously fixing it so that the problem doesn't keep happening. And this happens naturally when you're getting to the root cause and you're discovering what caused it. That part happens naturally. But once you're able to bring it to that level, that's when you want to take, what did you learn from it? Ask yourself, this is another question to ask yourself. What did I learn from this experience? What can I take with me? Make sure that it's positive. And then that will reframe that problem. And that's when you can take it to an even bigger level and create a new behavior. And when you create this new behavior, you can do it at a subconscious level by using the process of visualization. I have a way of doing this that's a little bit unique, but I'll give you just kind of the nuts and bolts of it. Is just actively visualizing the behavior that you want to do. Actively visualizing the behavior that you want to do. So if you no longer want to have inconsistent results or procrastinate or whatever that is, what do you want to do instead? And actively visualizing that step. That's how you create a new behavior. And this is really, really huge. It's like, so if you can imagine, like, we're all computers, and if when your computer gets a virus, it slows down, it doesn't move very fast, it may even stop in its tracks. It's inconsistent with loading, loading pages takes forever. You can't put in new information, you can't download anything because it's already kind of jammed up. We are the same. Whenever you can clean all that up and remove the virus that was slowing it down, Then you upload a new program. And when you upload that new program, then it's working. Then it's working quickly and it's moving from one thing to the other very, very quickly. And we are the same. We're able to move faster when we no longer have those things from our past holding us back. So another quick story about the other John. This John is in the IT space, and he came to me a couple of years back about one of his businesses, and he said he was consistently inconsistent. And so we did some work together, excuse me. And he was, honestly, he was more like 3 hours. It wasn't even a whole 4 hours. But we found that his core problem to the inconsistently or where it first occurred was something that happened like 20 years back. And he thought he fixed it. He had gone to counseling. It was a big, big problem in his personal life. And it was affecting his decisions in his business. And he didn't even realize how it was affecting his decisions in his business. So it was just this filter that he was doing, and he didn't know why. Well, we worked together, we fixed it. We did all the steps that I talked to you about. And then we discovered maybe 3 or 4. So he got into action, he stopped procrastinating. And then I talked to him maybe 9 months later, and he had created a third business because he had 2 when we worked together. He created a third business after we worked together. He talked about how healing the whole process was, and he was encouraged to start another business. And that business is moving on to being a 7-figure or over $1 million business. And he did that in his first year. It was an amazing idea, but he says this work that we did together, going through this process, is really what inspired him to move and take more risks and do things a little bit differently, both in his life and in his business. So let's say you've been driving to work every day for the past 20 years, and it takes you 30 minutes to get there, and you're just used to that same old route. What if I told you there was a new route? And in this new route, you could it only took you 10 minutes to get there, and there was no traffic. That is what I wanted to impress upon you. So did I keep my promise? I'm going to review really quickly. So the 3 shifts, identify the real problem. We talked about discovering what caused it or where it first occurred. And then we talked about the fixing it so that it doesn't keep happening and you can fix it for good. And having these 3 things working for you gives you a clear path to even more success, reaching your highest goals more easily, and deeper, better relationships. So now you have a choice. Option 1 is you can go it alone, and I told you the steps to do that, or I'll give you my info in a minute. I want you to think about what the cost is, regardless of how you choose to fix it. What's the cost of not fixing it? Think about the lost time, the lost opportunities, the infinite income losses. I have a financial planner I'm working with that actually said that. He's like, I've lost infinite income, lost happiness, damaged or unfulfilling relationships, slower business growth, the anger and frustration that's related to all those things. And one of my favorites, Albert Einstein, said, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So option 2 is to let me help you. And I'd love to do that. I have set aside some time to talk to you personally about how you can apply these things to your business and to your life. And it's only for you if you are a successful business owner or entrepreneur who's ready to commit to the next level. If you're tired of being in the same place and you're ready for those bigger results, and you're ready to invest in the success of you and your company. And why I'm doing this, if you decide that my process is a perfect solution for you, or for your team, and you want my help to identify what's been holding you back or what caused it so that you can fix it for good, you can go to 4hourresults.com and you can book a call with me. It'll give you a link to my calendar, and there is also a form with just a few short questions that you'll need to complete before we talk, and that will help me direct me on how to help you. And if we work together, I'll walk you through the exact process I use with all my clients. We'll dig in a little bit deeper than what we did today, to help you finally get past whatever's holding you back to get to your next level of success. And again, here's the process. You identify the problem, discover the cause, we subconsciously fix it, and then we create a new behavior to get you into immediate and massive action. And then again, you can go to 4hourresults.com to book a call with me. And I'll ask, I've got some time if there are any questions. If not, I understand that people are busy, but we are all wrapped up. And you can put those in the chat if you have any. And if not, I'm going to go ahead. If I don't hear from anybody, I'm going to check the chat. Oh, there is one. Are there harder problems to fix than others? Yes and no. So sometimes it is, it depends on what it is. I don't know that there's harder problems. Sometimes there's more complications with people that I work with, like they may have lots of different areas that they want to fix. So it's not really harder. Typically, you want to work on one problem at a time. You don't want to work on multiple things. And sometimes I do get people that have a list, literally, and they have all kinds of things. With childhood trauma, yes. So, and I have, it's not something like I advertise or talk about a lot because I'm not a counselor. I want to be clear about that. But yes, so I have worked with people that have had childhood stuff, and those things are not necessarily harder to fix, but it may take longer because there's probably a lot of layers there. And for them, they may choose to work with me a little bit longer. But if you were doing this on your own, just make sure you're picking one problem at a time. Does that help? Okay, any other questions? Okay, good, awesome. Yeah, that's the trickiest thing is sometimes people have layers. And when I say I work with people for 4 hours, I mean, literally most of the time it's only 4 hours, but I do have some people, if they come with a lot of different things, then I'll suggest let's work together a little bit longer. We can get the big thing that's impacting your business the most right up front. But sometimes there might be some other things, and childhood trauma would be a good example. I will say though, I've never had this not work. So literally it's never not worked on anybody. So I'm pretty confident in the process. Okay, well, if there are no other questions, I'm going to go ahead and stop the share and stop the recording. And I want to thank everybody for being on today. And I will see, feel free to reach out to me if you have questions or if you want to book a call.